What's up? We just got done training shoulders. I might seem a little verklempt, as they say in Lakewood. Because you have to look up Lakewood to know what I'm talking about. Basically, we just got done training shoulders, crushed it, killed it. Rich, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
That new carb you got, I stayed pumped even though you tried to kill me.
Yeah.
Amino Last is obviously awesome. Super Pump pre-workout, always like that. You got your new Detonate coming out as well.
Detonate's coming out.
What does that do?
Basically, it is a true fat burner.
Okay.
It's a different ingredient, novel ingredient.
Okay.
That's not really in the market today. Much different than dramamine. Much different than ephedrine. It's not just the normal caffeine you imbibe. It's something very different and unique. It's an herb that we brought to market. What you feel is you feel like a very good focus, energy. And we've done clinical studies on it showing that it's safe and it does help burn fat.
Awesome. So you're ready to do clinical studies. So you see studies thrown around a lot in this industry. Very few companies actually put money into studies. As far as you guys boys,
we spend millions of dollars on studies. We've done studies on everything from our test boosters to our super pump to our Detonate. I'm one of the first guys that started doing studies when we had Novadex that came out. So we went from Novadex to super pump to Sizon. All these products, we have clinicals on those products to check out safety and efficacy. I feel that's very important because a lot of companies toot their own horns, make a lot of absurd claims, but they really don't prove what their products do. When we make a claim, we're too big to really make absurd claims, and so we have to make sure when we say something, that's what the product does.
That's awesome. Now, you guys can Google All Day Long Rich and see 400 interviews about this guy. First of all, I hate you because of you to compete in the show now. I have to get down to 2% body fat to show my ass. Before you, everybody just got on stage with fat asses and abs. Then you came in and said, "Hey, you do ass," and screwed it up for everybody.
Well, it was the time of the era of the Lee Haney, and although Lee Haney won the Mr. Olympia, it was funny because I was the second place bodybuilder from 3 times second place. All the bodybuilders were trying to get like me, which is have the ripped glutes, striated glutes, the really conditioned look that I brought into bodybuilding at the time. So although we had the freak Lee Haney, which I still is a great friend, he's a freak, people looked up to get like me. So.
Well, glutes, I judge shows, I'm sure you've judged a couple. That's an automatic point, plus in my book.
Yes.
Because it shows that you worked your ass off, literally. And I mean, bodybuilding aside, you went over your company and the ingredients and all that good stuff. You're a businessman, first and foremost. People come to us all the time. What do I do to start a supplement company? I'm like, it's a friggin' business. See, I held back curse words. It's a business like any other business. You have ROI, you have profit and loss, you have EBITDA, you got return on investment. Of course, I said that before, but this time I spelled it out. What was your secret? What did you do? Obviously, you and Lee Labrada have really propelled yourselves as the two bodybuilders who brought companies here. Everybody else is just business people. What did you do? What separated you? Why are you so successful?
Well, first off, as a bodybuilder, that gave me the success of being a very positive person, a dedicated person. Anyone who competes in the Mr. Olympia, you're not going to get there without having, a good work ethic, a positive attitude, a goal, having a plan to prepare for a show. So you take a lot of those attributes, the positive attitude, the planning, you use that into business. Now, when I got into the supplement business, the one thing I wanted to do is I stepped back and I was the consumer of supplements. And when I looked at consumers, I go, what am I looking for? When anyone goes into something, you got to go, what am I looking for? And that's the true secret, and that's the vision to come up with a product line. So when I said, what am I looking for? I started coming up with ideas on different products to come out with. I'm looking for something to increase my testosterone. What is it? We came up with our testosterone booster. When I go to the gym, I'm dragging, ass. What do I do to get myself to push to get a great pump? We figured out something for the pre-workout, something to feel good during training for recovery, intra-workout. Fat burners, I want to feel a certain way. So when you go into anything, you want to go there with a vision to come up with a product. Of course, like you said before, you have to look at a product, you have to look at the competitor's product, you got to come up with pricing, you got to come up with profitability, you got to come up, as you said, with margins when you're selling to distributors, to selling to wholesalers. What is it? What is the price point to market? There's a lot of things that you do. How are you going to market that product? Whether you're going to use ads or whether you're going to use the internet, whether you're going to use Facebook or Twitter. There's all different ways of marketing. But I looked at it, and you have to have a whole plan in place to do that. A good thing is to have a marketing plan, something that you're going to do, a business plan to get a product off the ground, and then you have to have the money to do it. And I started with nothing when I started this company, and I did it. This is the story of having the American dream. I started out of my mom's basement, and most people think that after I got done competing, I went into the supplement business and I became successful. No, I had a hard time, went bankrupt, started the line with very little money, and then I just started working, and I had to step back to move forward. And if you could do that, all egos aside, you can become successful. You can work in the trenches. I'm there to the customers. The thing that I do, I've traveled around the world. I look at the markets. I've been, as you said before, I was in Australia. I've been to Australia, New Zealand, Germany, England, Italy, Switzerland, Sweden. I've been to all the markets, Russia, and I look at those markets and I see what are those markets looking for? What are the competitors doing? And that's what I do when I come into, in planning to make a product successful.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, as someone who beat the streets, he beat every street I beat, but beat me to it. So, just someone to look up to. If you guys are ever looking for a role model, also about bodybuilding, people always come to us, to me at least, I'm sure they come to you more than me. I want to become a pro. What should I do? What's your advice to them?
Well, first off, you don't just say, I want to become a pro. In anything, you want to make steps. First, you got to see if you have the genetics, of course. But you always have to have a backup plan. You should be working, going to school, or whatever you're trying to do. You shouldn't just say, I'm going to be a pro bodybuilder, you're going to make a ton of money. Very few guys do that. I'm one of the few that were able to do that. And like you said, there's a handful. When I was doing it, maybe there was like 5 or 6 guys that made a living doing it, maybe 10 people. From there, it's very, very difficult. You should have something to back up. You want to go into shows and you want to start from the bottom and just start winning the smaller shows and then the regional shows and then the junior shows and then the national shows, and then you go from there to see if you're going to turn pro. But it's something just to say, like, this kid who just starts training is, I'm going to be pro. That's just something, that's like saying I'm going to be a brain surgeon without going to, all the schooling that you have to do. So, you have to do it one step at a time, and if you get to that goal, that's great. But if you have something to back yourself up, besides that plan, because even winning Mr. Olympia doesn't guarantee that you're going to be success after that Mr. Olympia reign is over. So you want to look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Stay in school. Don't think you're going to pay your bills in bodybuilding. If you do, you're lucky, because like you said, 5 or 6. That's not 5 or 6 per state, per city. It's 5 or 6 in the world. If you've noticed, the world's really frigging big. So think about that in percentages. How many gyms there are across the country? There's a big guy at every one of those gyms. There's one big guy at every gym. It's a hell of a lot of big guys. So stay in school.
Don't be a fool. Stay in school.
Hulkamania, take your vitamins. Sorry. Okay, anything else you'd like to add to
No, it's just, as I said, from training to, running a company, it's just having a positive mindset. If you have a positive mindset, you're going to have a lot of nayers out there. You're not going to make it. You're going to have pitfalls. You're going to have negative things that come at you in life. You just have to overcome them and just forge ahead and move forward. And that's the best that you can do. And if you do that, and you at least say, I tried, you'll be very successful and happy with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. It's great to be here in New Jersey.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care, everybody.